it the whole time. Keep everything inside the railing. No smoking aboard, and also no vaping. Finally, guys, the governor of Texas has mandated we must wear masks. So please keep masks on for my safety and yours as well. If you have a drink, that's okay. All you need to do is pull the mask down, take a drink, and make sure that you cover back up. Now, notice the sign on the left, La Villita. You can think of La Villita as our first neighborhood. Folks, if you didn't know, we're on an all-natural river. It's called the San Antonio River. This is actually where the river was first discovered. It was first settled by a Native American tribe known as the Payaya Indians, probably sometime in the 1500s. This is also the exact location where Santa Anna put his cannon line during the siege of the island. One of the most unique areas of the city, so definitely take the time to walk through. Now, as part of the original design of the Riverwalk, this open-air theater was included. It's a river theater. It's called Arneson River Theater. The stage is on the right, and above the stage there are 5 bells. San Antonio has 5 missions, including the Alamo. So each mission is represented by one of those bells up there. Today, the theater is often used for concerts, plays, and holiday celebrations. So if you ever get a chance to come see a show, definitely do so, guys. Lots of fun. Now, we're going to be together about a half an hour. We're going to go more than 2 miles around the Riverwalk. The Riverwalk is the developed portion of the San Antonio River. Tonight, there's over 1 million lights on the river, guys. That's right, over 1 million. It takes 3 months, folks, to hang all these lights to start the first week of September and literally climb each tree one by one. That's why it takes 3 months to hang all the lights. The lights, of course, are going to be on throughout the holiday season. Then the city's going to have a really big electric bill. But once that's done, they're going to start taking the lights down. It takes another 3 months before they get them all out of the tree. Because again, they climb each tree one by one. Now, the overwhelming majority of the trees with average between 150 and 200 years old. There are other types of trees along the river that we're going to see. I'll test them out as we go along, but most again on site. So welcome to Christmas time on the Riverwalk. Now, every year, millions of people come to see the river, guys. The most popular destination in Texas. So a lot of the buildings that we're going to see are hotels. This one on the right is the Westin Hotel. Further down next to it on the right, the Homewood Suite. But actually, one of the most unique buildings in the entire city is the one you see on the left. See that tall building lit up in red, green, and white there? It's got a big American flag up there. Well, that is not a hotel. That's an office building. It's called the Tower Life Building, completed in 1929. And what's unique about it is, first of all, it's one of the very few 8-sided buildings in the city. There's also gargoyles at the very top. See those little fingers that stick out from the top of the building? Well, those are gargoyles placed there by the very superstitious original owners to scare evil spirits away. Turns out, though, they opened their building in 1929. Well, that's when the stock market crashed. The Great Depression began, bankrupting the owners and making them sell the building. In 1929, guys, this cost $3 million to build. They ended up selling for only $300,000. All because of the Great Depression. Unfortunately, they were never able to repair. Now the building is owned by the Tower Life Insurance Company. You see the building with the white Christmas lights on the tower there? Well, that's the Bell County Courthouse. It's made completely of red sandstone. So that's why it has that reddish color. Now we're going to take a right. The Riverwalk, just so you know, does not end here. It does continue down the left side of the boat, and it continues for another 10 miles. That direction is south, and we'll take you to the Missions. The only mission downtown, folks, is the Alamo. The other four are located south of the city. The river also continues to flow south for several hundred more miles till it reaches the Guadalupe River. Now this river, guys, is seafloor water, and it comes from underground. It comes from the Edwards Aquifer. The river originates 5 miles north of here. So that's where the river starts. The Riverwalk next year will turn 80 years old, and throughout those 80 years of history, lots of changes have taken place. Today, guys, the Riverwalk does have 2 man-made sections, and this is one of them actually right here. It's called the flood channel. To control flooding, actually, to prevent flooding, the flood channel works with a system of floodgates located at various spots along the river. So flooding is not something that ever happens here. So we enjoy the Riverwalk all year long. Now, we're going to exit the flood channel. This is going to take us back to the all-natural river. Notice, folks, the cypress tree right in front of the boat. Because that's the oldest tree on the entire river. This cypress tree is believed to be about 300 to 400 years old. And it's historic. It's called the Ben Milam tree. Now, Ben Milam was an early Texas pioneer who fought in the war against Mexico for Texas independence. Well, unfortunately, in 1835, Ben Milam was killed in the war by a sniper. The sniper shot him right at the top of that tree. Texas gained its independence from Mexico by defeating Santa Anna's army at the Battle of San Jacinto. By the way, this is the original bar on the Riverwalk, the very first one to open. The Escapade Tavern, right here on the right. Opened quite conveniently, too. About 10 minutes after Prohibition ended. New hotel being built. That'll be known as the Hilton Center on the right. Alright, guys, we are famous for food down here. That's good Italian, American, and others. We're going to start to see some restaurants on the right side of the boat, so I encourage you to look around. I'm sure you'll see something you like along the way. The Iron Cactus is this restaurant on the right with all the heaters out on the patio. Amazing authentic Mexican food if you're interested in that. Also notice the bridge in front of us, because that's the most famous bridge on the Riverwalk. It's called Serena's Bridge, because Jennifer Lopez filmed the scene of the movie Selena there in the mid-90s. The reason part of that film took place on that bridge, Selena herself got engaged to Chris Pettis on that bridge. So that's really why it's called Selena's Bridge. Restaurant, the great restaurant on the right is right next to Waxy O'Connor. This building you see on the left is a hotel. That's the Omni La Mansion. The mansion, essentially, owned by the Omni Corporation. Unfortunately, back in 2005. Now, I've seen a few restaurants, but certainly haven't seen them all. There are other restaurants that are on the other side of this bridge. There's also an optical illusion on the other side of this iron bridge. That's going to George Strait was born. Alright, the county line is here. Bubba Gump is here. On the right, Mo Plaza. And then this is Mad Dogs on the left, the Great British Pub. Now, we're going to be getting to what I would say is an even more popular area of the Riverwalk. So, don't be surprised if you see even more foot traffic through this area. This I would describe as being the heart of the Riverwalk. It's called River Square. Salt Grass Steakhouse is on the right. On the left is Rainforest Cafe. But you got about a dozen other options right on the other side of the walkway bridge. So definitely look around. This area is famous for steaks, for seafood, for burgers, fajitas, enchiladas, margaritas, micheladas, and many other dishes. And drinks as well. So, highly recommend you to stop by if you haven't already. Very popular with the ducks as well. Although I think they come here. Now this Riverwalk, folks, is designed by an architect. His name was Robert Hudman. His office in that building right there on the right. And on the right, you'll see a small bust of Mr. Hudman just before the bridge. Construction on the Riverwalk began in 1939. Again, it officially opened in 1941. When it opened, it was only 4 miles long. It is now 15 miles long. Now, earlier I showed you the first bar that opened on the Riverwalk. Right here on the right is the first restaurant that opened, and that's Casa Rios. Casa Rios has been here since 1946. Now, just off the boat in front of us, we are also going to be taking a left. And this is going to take us out of the all-natural river and actually put us into the only other man-made section on the Riverwalk. Very appropriately called the man-made section. Now, this section didn't exist in 1941 when the Riverwalk opened. This section wasn't built until 1968. And that's the year San Antonio hosted the World's Fair, known as the Hemisphere. The Hemisphere that year took place in Hemisphere Park, which is right at the end of this section. And we built this really for one reason, to connect the World's Fair to the rest of the Riverwalk. The Hemisphere Park was a huge event. 7 million people showed up. So we pretty much had to expand the Riverwalk. Now, a couple of interesting buildings over here. Most of the buildings you see, once again, are hotels. Now take a look at the building lit up in green coming into view right in front of the boat. That is a hotel. It's called the Marriott Riverside. What's unique about it is that during its construction, Marriott owned the Guinness Book of World Records. This hotel was completed here in 1988, but if you rewind back to the early 80s, Marriott folks had already made the decision to build a hotel there. The problem was, there was already a hotel there. It was called the Fairmont. Fairmont was built in 1906. It was historic, and Marriott couldn't tear it down. So Marriott hired engineers. The engineers decided to move the Fairmont. In 1986, they lifted up the building, they put it on trucks, and then they drove it to an empty lot about 4 blocks south of here. Well, they wanted to get a Book of World Record, because at the time it was the largest city building ever moved on pneumatic tires. And that's how the River Center got built. Folks, the Fairmont is still standing. It's also still in business today. On the right, you're going to see a tall tower building lit up in red and green. the Tower of the Americas. It was built in 1968 as the central attraction of the World's Fair. There it is on the right. Now, if you're interested, folks, go up there. There's an observation deck. There's also a restaurant. And the restaurant is on a motorized floor. So if you decide to eat while you're eating, you're turning 360 degrees. If you don't want to eat, though, you don't have to. Again, there is an observation deck. So if you just want to see some amazing views of the city, it's always recommended. Now, as you can see, this is a rather busy area. And that's because we have a ticket office here. Which, of course, is why the boats are lined up. And there's a big line of people waiting for the next tour boat. We're going to go past all of this, though. Because right around the bend here is the second largest shopping mall in the city. It's 1 million square feet of shopping space. It's called the Shopping River Center. It was completed here in 1988. There's also more restaurants on both sides of the river, guys. So again, look around, because you might want to visit later, just to get a closer look. And of course, the beautiful Christmas tree. So just added a Levelland Playland store here, guys. So there will also soon be an aquarium. It'll be known as Sea Life. Hopefully it will be open actually within the next few months. That's what we're hoping. Also, the newest restaurant to open on the river is right in front of us. That's called Land Shark Bar and Grill. View of the Christmas tree here on the right. Now, as we exit here, a couple of other very interesting trees. See, most trees are cypress. Over here, we actually have a citrus tree. There's an orange tree right in front of us. So look up if you want to. Those are oranges hanging down. Now, think about those about ready to pop. Also, a lemon tree on the other side of the wall. Good. We have lemon trees, folks, because we make a lot of margaritas down here. So look up, these are minor lemons right above us. Alright, well, we're going to exit out of here and get back to the all-natural river. Once we get past this walkway bridge, we'll slip on the right. You're going to see a statue of the gentleman we're named after, St. Anthony's Escapade. St. Anthony was a priest who lived in Lisbon, Portugal, back in the 12th century. Notice he's holding a baby. St. Anthony is the patron saint of children, right there on the right. Native American, Mexican, Spanish, English, Scottish, Irish, and the list goes on. Alright, well, we are inside of the all-natural river once again. But take a look at the building on the left. Dr. Hilton Palacio del Rio. It's the other hotel that also has a Guinness Book of World Record. This was built here in 1968 and earned a Guinness record because it only took 7 months to build the hotel. Now what they did, folks, was first of all, they built an assembly line. They used the assembly line to build and finish every room in the hotel. But once the room arrived, it had beds, carpet, dressers, lace, lights, lamps, pictures, mini bar. They even put mitts on the pillows. We're going to take a look. You'll see the hotel directly in front of the bed. So take a look at it. Notice every room in the building is in the shape of a box. Now each box arrived furnished and finished. Once it arrived, all they had to do was lift it in place with a crane and start stacking the boxes up. The first 4 floors of the building are its foundation, so they had to be built here along with the elevator shaft. But everything else you see came from the assembly line. And that's how the 500-room hotel was finished in only 7 months. So another really unique building. And ladies and gentlemen, this brings us right back to where we started. Oh, thank you so much for